Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Goosebumps, the Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. This is a really good episode. Like, it's a bit on the creepy side and the eerie side, which I love. Also, what I really love about this is the whole atmosphere of this episode. It's set out in the country area. It's on a farm. There are the huge like corn mazes, and it has that hokey country type music that really just sets the mood of the episode, and it puts you like in a different kind of place. It's like a lot of people's favorites. It's on DVD. Like, it's just a really fun and pretty good episode. And like, it's one of my all-time favorites. So, this episode takes place your typical Goosebumps setup, where it's like the boy and girl setup. So, they're brother and sister. They're from the city. Mark and Jody. Jody is the oldest one. Mark is the youngest. And they're going to visit their grandparents out in the country. Something they always do. But they haven't really done it in a good while. And so, like, on the farm, their grandparents are so old that they need help. So they have a farm hand, somebody to help around. His name is Stanley, and he has a son named Sticks. Boy, they went all country for that. So Sticks is around Jody's age. They're teenagers, and Mark is the kid. So, while they're there, they're happy to see their grandparents, and Mark is all like, I can't wait to go frog hunting and stuff and catch some like bullfrogs. And Grandpa's like, yeah, I can't wait either, because they do it all the time. And then Stanley, with a strange look, like Stanley's now all there in the head, and he's just all like, I like the frogs. I don't like people mess with them. And Grandpa has like a worried, terrified look on his face, right? And he doesn't want to cross Stanley for some bizarre reason. So he tells Mark, oh no, we're not going looking for no bullfrogs. And Mark doesn't understand why. So he's very like disappointed and stuff. And so Stick, he makes jokes about how they're from like the city and everything like that. And so while they're there, I can't really remember what happens, but like, I do remember in the morning when they wake up, I know the kids are talking about how they're disappointed he can't go, like Mark is disappointed he can't like go frog hunting. And Jody's all like, it'll be all right. Like in the morning, it'll be like the best time ever, because they'll have grandma's famous chocolate chip pancakes. They wake up in the morning and there's no pancakes. Instead, they're just giving cold cornflake cereal. And Jody is now disappointed. She's all like, hey, where the pancakes at? And Stanley's all like, I don't like no pancakes. I like cereal. And so Grandma is scared. And it's just like, whoa, what is going on? Why is it that every time Stanley doesn't like something, the grandparents get scared and won't do it? So, like, at some point in time, oh, I remember right before that night happened. No, that's this night. So anyway, kids are all out, and they go on to bed, and so like after they have dinner, Stanley's all like, oh, that was a good meal and this and that. So now it's time for pie, and so Grandma, she doesn't give them their apple pie, she gives them cherry pie, and they're like, hey, what happened to the apple pie you always cook? And Stanley's all like, I don't like apple pie. I like cherry pie. So it's just like, dude, what is going on? So then Mark's all like, so Grandpa, you gonna tell us one of your scary stories? And Grandpa's like, yeah, I have a great one. Oh, it's raining outside, so you might be able to hear that on the audio. So anyway, then Stanley's all like, I don't like them stories. They scare me. And so it's just, so the kids are just kind of looking around, kind of like, what the world is going on? So at some point in time, whenever they go to sleep, there's like something in the window. You see like the shadow that walks by. And then all of a sudden, like, you see it in the next window. It's a scarecrow. And it's like, what? And the music is eerie. It's that hokey country music, but like turned up to like to be scary. And then so like the next day, they're like playing outside at some point, and then so they're kicking the ball, and he kicks it a little too hard, or he throws it, one of them two, and then she goes into the corn maze, and it's one of the most beautiful scenes ever. The camera starts to go up, and like you just see like the entire maze as she's going in it, and you can barely see her because she's getting lost within the maze, and it's just a cool thing. Like more horror movies should be set out in the farm, man. Like seriously, they're out in the middle of nowhere. There's all this land, you know. So she's looking for it, and then something happens. I can't exactly remember what. I think Mark, no, Sticks. He tries to scare her, so he scares her, and she's like terrified, and she falls back, and then she calls him like a jerk and all this other stuff. And you know, basically he tells her, you know, you city folk, y'all ain't used to this country life, and y'all need to go back to the city. And then so at some point in time, the kids decide they're gonna ride their bikes in like the open field in the maze and stuff. So they're riding their bikes, right? And they're just having a good time chasing and racing each other. And 'cause this is really the only fun they really get to do, because they can't do nothing else because Stanley won't let them do nothing. And then at some point in time, we see a scarecrow jump out of the maze and tackles Jody, and is wrestling with her on the ground. She's screaming and she's hollering. And then we see Stanley come in, and he's all like, you know, what happened? She's all like, it Sticks. He dressed up as a scarecrow, or he threw a scarecrow at me. And then Stanley's all like, no, Sticks would never throw a scarecrow at you. So let's just get back in the house, we be safe. And he tells them like to leave the bikes, but he shouts at them. And then so it's kind of like, man, what the world's going on in this episode? So then Jody, she decides she's going to get Sticks back. So she dresses Mark up as a scarecrow. But before she does that, she goes to sleep. And when she goes to sleep, she has a nightmare of her grandparents' faces are in a pumpkin. No, not pumpkin so much, but a scarecrow mask. So the grandparents' faces have now morphed into scarecrows and stuff. And so, like, she wakes up from the dream. So, anyway, at some point in time at night, she dresses Mark up as a scarecrow to scare Sticks. But then all of a sudden, she goes around the corner and she thinks she sees Sticks. But it's not Sticks. It's an actual scarecrow. It scares the crimson waves out of her. And so she's hollering and she's screaming, and then she finds Mark. And then they find the real Sticks, and Sticks is all like, we need to get inside. And he's worried, he's panting, and he's trying to think of what to do. And she's all like, what is going on here? And so he tells her a long time ago, his dad got like, you know, his dad's old. And his dad is just like, he can't really do all the work that he used to. And so there are these like birds and crows messing with the farm food. So, you know, they had scarecrows. Well, he finds this old book of spells. Hey man, this is R.L. Stein, you know what I'm saying? And he conjures up a spell that makes the scarecrows come alive so they can chase the birds away. And then he tried to put them back to sleep with the other spell, but they don't want to go back to sleep. So first he puts them to sleep, but then they don't want to. And so now it's basically like the grandparents are terrified of Stanley because he'll sick the scarecrows on them and stuff. And so at some point they meet up with Stanley, and the scarecrows all around, and he's scared, and he just takes off running, and everybody runs after him. So they get into like the barn, and so they tell him, you know, recite the spell to put him back to sleep, and he can't really find it. And so he's looking for the spell to put him to sleep, but he really can't. And so then he thinks he finds it, and then he recites it, but it's the spell that awakens them. See, Stanley, like I said, is not all there in the head. So then the scarecrows, they're like trying to come on in like the barn, and it's a really scary, terrifying scene. Then all of a sudden Mark hops on the tractor and runs over the scarecrows and stuff. But it's like, what's really great about this is like when they're running in the middle of the night, it's the big open field, it's that hokey music again, it's the eerie scariness of knowing the scarecrows are gonna get them. But anyway, so Scarecrow's now dead. So next day, they're there and they're eating their apple pie finally. And Stanley's gonna behave himself. Well, as Stanley's walking around, he sees a piece of paper on like the floor. It's from the spell book. And like the idiot, he reads it. And of course, it awakens the Scarecrow. Like how many Scarecrows they got on that farm? So then the Scarecrow decides, you know what, I'm gonna get some revenge on you. So he hops into the tractor and he starts like busting through like the farm house, and then he starts to like try to bulldoze down the house, and everybody's screaming and hollering, and then it ends. It's like if this was more adult, boy, it would be scarier, but it's creepy nonetheless. And the acting is great in this. The music is great in this. It's classic R.L. Stine. It's classic like horror. There's been so many depictions of scarecrows coming to life and everything and attacking people, and this is just like one of those really good episodes. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.